Have you ever started something with so much excitement, only to find yourself losing steam just days, weeks, or months later? Maybe it's a fitness goal, a new skill, or even a commitment to improve your mindset. You know that deep down you want to be consistent, but somehow life gets in the way. What if I told you that consistency isn't just about discipline or willpower, it's about who you are choosing to become? And that the secret to staying consistent is rooted in understanding yourself, your values, and your why. If you listen carefully to the next few minutes, you'll discover the real reason consistency has eluded you. And more importantly, how to reclaim it so that you can show up for yourself every single day. Consistency begins with clarity, and clarity begins with understanding your why. The reason so many people fail to stay consistent is not because they lack discipline, talent, or even the desire to succeed. It's because they have never truly paused to ask themselves why. They wake up every morning, start their routines, chase goals, and yet somewhere along the line they feel lost, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. The truth is that consistency is never about simply forcing yourself to do something over and over again. It's about connecting your actions to a deeper purpose, a purpose that resonates with your soul, a reason that feels bigger than the temporary discomfort of showing up day after day. Without that, you are like a ship without a compass, drifting wherever the waves take you, hoping to reach a destination you have not fully defined. Understanding your why is not just an exercise in self-reflection. It is the foundation of every action you take. It is the engine that powers you when motivation fades, when life throws obstacles in your path, and when the easiest option seems to be giving up. Because, let's face it, motivation is temporary. Motivation is like the spark of a fire. It burns bright at first, but if it is not connected to something deeper, it will extinguish at the first wind, the first challenge, the first sign of difficulty. Your why, on the other hand, is like the fuel that keeps that fire burning. It is the reason you wake up before sunrise to practice your craft, the reason you push yourself through discomfort, the reason you continue even when no one is watching. It is what turns the mundane, repetitive tasks into meaningful steps toward becoming the person you aspire to be. Ask yourself the questions that matter. Why are you pursuing this goal? Why does this action matter to you beyond the surface level? Why is it worth your time, energy, and commitment? The answers to these questions reveal the core of your why. They reveal what drives you on a level so deep that no external circumstance can shake it. When you connect your daily habits to your purpose, you begin to act not because someone told you to, not because of fleeting motivation, but because it is aligned with who you truly are. Consistency stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like an expression of your identity. Every time you follow through on your commitment, you are reinforcing the story you tell yourself about who you are. You are building a bridge between intention and action, between your current self and your future self. Many people get stuck because they chase goals without ever understanding the meaning behind them. They want to run a business, get fit, or learn a new skill, but they are only chasing the outcome without understanding the deeper purpose, the why. Behind it, consistency becomes a battle against fatigue, distraction, and temptation. The body resists, the mind questions, and without that internal compass, it is easy to justify giving up. But when your actions are rooted in your why, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment, not a reason to quit. The why gives you the strength to persevere when the process gets hard, when results are slow, when doubt creeps in. It is your anchor in the storm. Understanding your why also changes the way you perceive challenges. When you have a clear purpose, setbacks are no longer failures. They are signals, feedback, and opportunities to learn. The path to consistency is never perfectly straight. There will be moments when you falter, moments when progress seems invisible, moments when the temptation to abandon your plan is strong. But if you know why you started, you see these challenges as necessary steps, not reasons to give up. Each difficulty becomes a test of your commitment, a chance to strengthen the connection between your actions and your purpose. The deeper your why, the more resilient you become. The more you understand what you are truly working for, the less likely you are to be derailed by temporary discomfort or doubt. Your why also influences how you show up for yourself and others. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about alignment. When your actions reflect your deeper purpose, you create trust within yourself. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who honors commitments, someone who doesn't quit when it's inconvenient. This internal trust becomes the foundation for external consistency. When you believe in your why, showing up becomes non-negotiable. It is no longer optional. Your actions align with your values, and you start living a life that is intentional rather than reactive. You begin to define success not just by results, but by the person you are becoming in the process. Finding your why is not always immediate or easy. It often requires introspection, reflection, and honesty. It requires asking difficult questions about what truly matters to you, what legacy you want to leave, and who you aspire to be. It is more than a surface-level goal. It is a connection to the essence of who you are and what you value. It is understanding that the daily choices you make are not trivial. They are the building blocks of your identity. Each time you act in alignment with your why, you reinforce your sense of self and move closer to the life you envision. Each time you fail to act, you gain feedback, but you can always realign with your purpose and continue. This continuous alignment is what fuels long-term consistency. When you understand your why, you also shift your mindset from a focus on external validation to internal fulfillment. Many people rely on praise, recognition, or rewards to maintain consistency, but these are fleeting. They are not reliable. What is reliable is your connection to your purpose. When you act because it resonates with your deepest values, the external world becomes secondary. Your actions are no longer contingent on applause. They are expressions of integrity, courage, and commitment to yourself. This internal compass guides you through uncertainty and keeps you on track even when circumstances are unpredictable. Consistency fueled by your why is not just about achieving goals. It is about becoming someone who is worthy of your own trust. It is about cultivating a life where your actions, habits, and decisions reflect the person you want to be. It is about showing up even when it is hard because you are connected to a reason bigger than momentary discomfort. Every time you honor your why, you reinforce the story of your identity, and every repetition builds momentum that propels you forward. Consistency is no longer a struggle. It becomes a natural byproduct of living with purpose, clarity, and intentionality. The moment you discover your why, you gain a lens through which to view every action, every decision, and every challenge. It is the difference between wandering aimlessly and moving with direction. It is the difference between fleeting bursts of effort and sustained progress. Your why is not something you can borrow from someone else. It must be yours. It must resonate so deeply that even when everything else fails, you keep moving forward because the action itself reflects the person you are choosing to become. Understanding your why is the first and most important step toward consistency, and it is a step that defines the trajectory of your life, your habits, and your success. When you connect your daily habits to your purpose, consistency stops feeling like a chore. It becomes an expression of who you are, a reflection of the life you are building. It transforms mundane actions into meaningful steps, fleeting motivation into lasting discipline, and isolated efforts into a pattern that defines your identity. Understanding your why is not a one-time discovery. It is an ongoing commitment to align your actions with your purpose, to navigate challenges with clarity, and to honor the person you are becoming every single day. Most people misunderstand what consistency really is. They believe that being consistent is about meeting the expectations of others, about performing for recognition, about showing up only when someone is watching or waiting to judge their results. They think that as long as they appear disciplined in front of colleagues, friends, or family, they are achieving consistency. But that is a dangerous misconception. True consistency is not about pleasing the world or earning applause. It is about showing up for the most important person in your life, yourself. If you cannot commit to yourself, if you cannot honor your own standards and promises, then no amount of external validation, recognition, or praise will make you consistent. It is only when you first commit to yourself that real, lasting consistency becomes possible. Because the moment you take ownership of your actions and your choices, you reclaim control over your life in a way that no one else can provide. To commit to yourself first means that you start by setting standards that you will honor regardless of what anyone else thinks. It means that you recognize your own worth and understand that your daily actions are a reflection of your values, your identity, and your integrity. Every time you follow through on a commitment you made to yourself, you are building a foundation of trust with the person who matters most. You are proving to yourself that you can rely on yourself, that you are capable of follow through, that your word has meaning. This internal trust is far more powerful than any external reward because it cannot be taken away, it cannot be denied, and it cannot be bought. It is yours, built one decision at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Accountability to yourself is not easy because the world constantly offers distractions, excuses, and shortcuts. The moment you feel tired, overwhelmed, or unmotivated, it is tempting to look outward for justification. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or no one will notice if I skip today. These are the subtle traps that derail consistency. But committing to yourself first means resisting the easy path, choosing instead to honor your commitments. regardless of external circumstances. It is the quiet decision to show up even when no one is watching, to follow through even when there is no applause, to do what you said you would do because it aligns with who you want to become. This is the essence of integrity, and it is the secret ingredient to lasting consistency. When you commit to yourself first, you create a feedback loop that strengthens your identity. Every time you honor your commitments, you reinforce the story that you are reliable, disciplined, and capable. You stop defining yourself by your failures, by your excuses, or by what others expect of you, and start defining yourself by your actions, by your willingness to show up for the promises you made to yourself. Over time, this builds confidence and resilience, because you know that no matter what life throws at you, you can count on yourself. You begin to understand that your consistency is not contingent on circumstances, emotions, or outside validation. It is contingent on your decision to honor yourself first. This is where many people fail. They confuse consistency with external accountability. They rely on coaches, mentors, colleagues, or family to keep them on track, thinking that someone else's expectations will force them to be consistent. While guidance and support can be helpful, they are never sufficient for true consistency. If you are not committed to yourself first, if your actions are only performed to meet someone else's expectations, your consistency will crumble the moment the external pressure disappears. Real consistency comes from an internal compass, a personal commitment to honor yourself, and a recognition that the only validation that truly matters is the one you give yourself. Committing to yourself also means recognizing the value of your time, energy, and potential. Every moment you spend, every choice you make, is an investment in yourself. When you fail to follow through on your commitments, you are essentially telling yourself that your time and energy are not valuable, that your goals and dreams are optional, and that your potential is negotiable. Conversely, every time you honor a commitment, no matter how small, you reinforce your self-worth. You signal to yourself that you matter, that your goals matter, and that your life is worth showing up for. This mindset transforms consistency from a task into a lifestyle, because it becomes about respect for yourself and your journey, rather than fear of judgment or desire for approval. It is also important to understand that committing to yourself first is not selfish. Many people mistakenly believe that focusing on their own commitments is self-centered, that it means ignoring others or being disconnected from responsibilities. But the truth is that the most effective, sustainable way to show up for others is to first show up for yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot inspire, lead, or support others if you are not aligned with your own values and disciplined in your own commitments. When you prioritize yourself in this way, you create the energy, focus, and integrity necessary to positively impact everyone around you. Your consistency becomes contagious because it is grounded in authenticity and self-respect, not in obligation or performance. Committing to yourself first also requires honesty and courage. It means acknowledging when you have fallen short, when you have made excuses, and when you have been inconsistent in the past. But it also means using that awareness as fuel to recommit, to reset, and to reinforce your internal standards. Every day is a new opportunity to show up for yourself, to strengthen the trust you have in your own abilities, and to practice the discipline that forms the backbone of consistency. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes and the more automatic it feels. What was once a conscious decision becomes a natural reflection of your identity. Every action you take in service of yourself compounds over time. Every promise you keep to yourself reinforces your ability to follow through on bigger promises. Every day that you honor your commitments builds momentum, turning small, consistent actions into extraordinary results. The key is to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for alignment. Ask yourself, am I showing up for myself? Am I honoring my commitments? Am I building trust with the person who matters most? Me. The moment you answer yes, consistency becomes inevitable because it is no longer dependent on fleeting motivation, temporary willpower, or external rewards. It is rooted in the most reliable source there is, your own integrity. Committing to yourself first is the foundation for every success, every habit, and every goal you will ever achieve. It is the difference between giving up when it's hard and continuing when it's difficult. It is the difference between relying on others to keep you accountable and becoming the person who doesn't need external pressure to show up. It is the difference between living a life dictated by circumstances and living a life guided by intention and purpose. Every moment you choose to honor yourself, you are choosing consistency. Every action you take to reinforce your own trustworthiness is a step toward becoming the person you were meant to be. And over time, that person becomes unstoppable. So commit to yourself first. Show up for the promises you make to yourself before anyone else. Build trust within, and the world will follow. Consistency will no longer be a struggle or a battle. It will be a natural expression of who you are. When you honor yourself in this way, your actions, habits, and results align with your deepest values, and the life you have always envisioned becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Most people think that success is defined by goals. They think that if they set a target, work toward it, and finally reach it, they will have achieved greatness. Goals are certainly important. They give us direction, clarity, and a sense of purpose. But here's the truth that few people realize: goals are fleeting. They are momentary markers along a journey, not the journey itself. When we focus solely on goals, we run the risk of becoming obsessed with the outcome, placing all our energy on the finish line while neglecting the process that actually creates lasting change. Goals can inspire us, but they are not enough to sustain consistency, progress, or personal growth. This is why focusing on systems, the daily actions, habits, and routines we build, is far more powerful. Systems are the foundation of long-term success, the mechanisms that allow us to make progress every single day, and the structures that turn ambition into achievement. A system is not just a plan, it is a framework for living intentionally. It is the small, repeatable actions you take consistently, the habits that compound over time, the disciplined behaviors that form the backbone of progress. When you focus on systems, the emphasis shifts from obsessing over outcomes you cannot control to taking control of the actions that are within your power. Instead of asking, will I achieve this goal? You ask, am I following my system today? And the beauty of this approach is that when you focus on the system, the results inevitably follow. Small, consistent actions, repeated day after day, month after month, and year after year, compound into extraordinary progress that far exceeds what you might achieve by chasing goals alone. Goals are often binary. You either achieve them or you do not. This can create a mindset of temporary effort. You push hard for a short burst of time, hoping to reach the finish line, and then when the goal is achieved or when it seems distant and unattainable, your energy wanes. Systems, on the other hand, are continuous. They are about showing up daily, regardless of whether the results are immediately visible. Systems create momentum, and momentum is what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Think about the difference between someone who trains for a marathon with a system of daily runs, proper nutrition, and rest, versus someone who only trains sporadically whenever they feel motivated. The goal-focused runner may reach the race, but they are at the mercy of their motivation. The system-focused runner builds endurance, strength, and resilience over time, and the marathon becomes the natural outcome of a process already in motion. The key to leveraging systems is to focus on the process rather than the finish line. When you obsess over goals, the pressure of the outcome can become paralyzing. You may feel overwhelmed by the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and this can lead to procrastination, anxiety, or even giving up altogether. But when you focus on the system, your attention shifts to the actions you can take today. You focus on showing up, on making small improvements, on reinforcing habits, and on learning from feedback. This process-oriented mindset keeps you engaged, motivated, and grounded in the present moment. You stop worrying about the distant future and start mastering the small daily choices that ultimately define it. Another powerful aspect of systems is their ability to adapt. Goals are fixed points, and while they can be inspiring, they often leave little room for flexibility. Life is unpredictable, circumstances change, and obstacles arise. A rigid focus on goals can make you feel defeated when the path to achieving them is blocked. Systems, however, are adaptable. You can adjust the actions, refine the habits, and optimize the process without abandoning the overarching framework. Systems allow you to maintain momentum even in the face of setbacks, because the focus is not on a single outcome. It is on the continual practice of showing up, learning, and improving. Over time, this adaptability compounds your growth, resilience, and mastery. Tracking your habits is another critical aspect of building effective systems. When you know what you are doing consistently, you gain insight into what works and what does not. Tracking allows you to measure progress, celebrate small wins, and identify areas for improvement. Without tracking, systems can become invisible. They exist in theory, but you have no way of knowing whether they are producing results. By monitoring your habits, you create accountability, reinforce positive behaviors, and ensure that your system is moving you toward your desired outcome, even if that outcome is secondary to the process itself. One of the most important truths about systems is that they compound. Just as money grows exponentially when invested wisely over time, the results of consistent actions multiply and create exponential growth. Reading a page a day may seem insignificant, but over a year, that is hundreds of pages of knowledge absorbed. Exercising for 30 minutes each day may seem small, but over months, your strength, endurance, and energy levels, transform. Practicing a skill for an hour each day may feel incremental, but over time, mastery emerges. The magic of systems is that they turn small, seemingly insignificant actions into monumental achievements. Not by luck, but by the relentless power of consistency and repetition. Focusing on systems also shifts your mindset from short-term thinking to long-term growth. When you chase goals alone, you are often looking for instant results, validation, or recognition. This can lead to frustration when success does not come quickly or in the form you expected. Systems teach patience, persistence, and trust in the process. They remind you that growth is gradual, that excellence is built over time, and that consistent action is far more reliable than sporadic bursts of effort. Systems cultivate resilience because you learn to value the daily practice itself, to find satisfaction in showing up, and to understand that success is the natural outcome of disciplined effort. Ultimately, focusing on systems is about creating a life that is sustainable, repeatable, and aligned with your values. It is about designing a framework where progress is inevitable, where habits reinforce your identity, and where consistency is no longer a struggle, but a byproduct of intentional living. The goal becomes a milestone, a marker of progress, but the system is what carries you forward every day through challenges, distractions, and doubts. By committing to systems rather than fixating on goals, you reclaim control over your journey, empower yourself to act with intention, and set yourself up for long-term success that far exceeds what any goal alone could deliver. So instead of obsessing over the finish line, focus on the daily actions that create momentum. Build habits that reinforce your identity, track your progress, refine your system, and trust the process. Understand that greatness not a single achievement. It is the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions repeated over time. When you do this, you stop chasing fleeting outcomes and start building a life defined by intentionality, resilience, and lasting success. Systems, not goals, are the secret to consistency, growth, and extraordinary achievement. When most people think about consistency, they imagine monumental effort, grand gestures, and heroic displays of discipline. They think that to succeed, to achieve, to grow, they must push themselves beyond their limits every single day. But the reality is far more subtle and far more powerful. Consistency is not about doing something enormous every day. It's about taking small, meaningful steps forward, no matter how tiny they may seem. It's about honoring the process, showing up, and recognizing that even the smallest progress matters. The power of small wins is often underestimated, but it is the engine that drives momentum, shapes identity, and ultimately transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Small wins are deceptively simple, yet they are transformative. They are the building blocks of consistency because they reinforce the behavior you want to cultivate. Every time you take action, even a small one, you are sending a signal to yourself that you are committed, capable, and reliable. This signal, over time, becomes a message you internalize. It becomes part of your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who shows up, someone who makes progress even when it is difficult. Identity is reinforced not by grand declarations or occasional bursts of effort, but by repeated incremental actions. And the small wins are what accumulate to create that identity. The beauty of small wins is that they create momentum. One small action begets another. One completed task fuels the energy to take on each. Next. The psychological effect of progress, no matter how small, is profound. It builds confidence, reinforces habits, and provides the motivation to continue. Momentum is what separates those who give up after initial effort from those who persist until transformation occurs. When you focus on small wins, you remove the pressure of achieving everything at once and instead celebrate the progress that is happening every day. You acknowledge that transformation is a journey, not an instant event, and you give yourself permission to grow gradually, consistently, and sustainably. Small wins also protect against burnout. When people set their sights only on massive goals or monumental achievements, they often find themselves overwhelmed, exhausted, and demotivated. The sheer weight of the goal can paralyze them before they even start. But by embracing small wins, you create a sustainable rhythm of effort. Each day, you achieve something manageable, something attainable, something that moves you forward without draining your energy. Over time, These manageable steps compound into significant progress, and you avoid the trap of starting strong and then burning out halfway through. Small wins are the antidote to overwhelm because they allow you to focus on what is immediately achievable, rather than being paralyzed by the enormity of the entire journey. Another profound aspect of small wins is how they reinforce habits. Habits are formed through repetition and consistency, and small wins are the markers that indicate progress. Each small step you take reinforces the neural pathways associated with that habit. Each time you show up, you are practicing, learning, and embedding the behavior into your daily routine. Over time, these repeated actions become automatic. They no longer require as much conscious effort because they have become part of who you are. This is the compound ding effect of small wins. Not only do they create momentum in the short term, but they also solidify the long-term habits that underpin consistency and growth. Small wins also help maintain perspective. When pursuing a big goal, it is easy to become discouraged by how far you have to go, how much remains to be done, or how slow progress seems. But small wins allow you to focus on the here and now, to recognize the progress that is happening today. They remind you that growth is incremental, that every step forward matters, and that the distance covered is more important than the distance remaining. By celebrating these small wins, you shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, from focusing on what you haven't done to appreciating what you have accomplished. This positive reinforcement fuels further action and keeps you moving forward even when challenges arise. One of the most overlooked aspects of small wins is their ability to strengthen resilience. Life is unpredictable and obstacles are inevitable. There will be days when progress seems impossible, when motivation is low, and when the path forward appears unclear. But when you recognize and celebrate small wins, you create a reservoir of confidence and proof that you are capable. Even in the face of adversity, you have a record of small successes to remind you that forward motion is possible. These small victories become the foundation for perseverance, helping you navigate setbacks with determination and optimism. They remind you that progress is rarely linear, but consistent action, even small action, ensures that you keep moving toward your goals. Small wins are also a source of intrinsic motivation. External rewards, recognition, or validation can inspire effort, but they are unreliable and fleeting. Intrinsic motivation, the motivation that comes from within, is what sustains consistency over the long term. By celebrating small wins, you cultivate intrinsic motivation because each accomplishment provides internal satisfaction, pride, and a sense of competence. You don't rely on others to acknowledge your progress. You recognize it yourself, and that recognition fuels your desire to continue. Over time, the internal satisfaction derived from small wins becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. Effort leads to accomplishment. Accomplishment leads to motivation, and motivation leads to further effort. It is also important to understand that small wins are not insignificant. They may feel minor in isolation, but their cumulative effect is profound. One small step today, repeated consistently over weeks, months, and years, creates exponential growth. Small wins are like deposits into a bank account of progress. They may seem modest at first, but with compounding, they lead to extraordinary results. Every new skill you acquire, every habit you strengthen, every improvement you make begins with a single small action. And when you commit to taking that action consistently, the results become inevitable. The sum of these small wins is far greater than any single monumental effort could achieve on its own. Finally, embracing the power of small wins transforms your relationship with consistency itself. It shifts consistency from being a source of stress or pressure to being a source of empowerment and progress. You no longer feel overwhelmed by the need to achieve perfection or reach an impossible goal. Instead, you focus on showing up, taking action, and recognizing progress along the way. Consistency becomes a process you enjoy rather than a burden you endure. You begin to understand that growth is not an event but a journey, and that the journey is composed of countless small victories, each one reinforcing your habits, your identity, and your momentum. So, celebrate the small wins. Recognize them. Honor them. Each step forward, no matter how minor it seems, strengthens your ability to stay consistent. Each action taken in alignment with your goals and values reinforces your identity and builds momentum. Over time, these small wins compound into extraordinary progress that transforms your life. The power of small wins lies not in the size of the step, but in the act of showing up, taking action, and moving forward. Consistency, growth, and long-term success are the natural results of embracing this principle. By valuing small wins, you create a life of progress, momentum, and unstoppable forward motion. Consistency is not just a product of willpower or discipline. It is deeply influenced by the environment in which you live, work, and move. We often underestimate the subtle but powerful ways our surroundings shape our habits, our choices, and ultimately our results. You might have the strongest motivation, the clearest why, and the best intentions, yet if your environment works against you, consistency becomes an uphill battle, and even the most disciplined efforts can falter. On the other hand, when your environment is designed to support your goals, when every aspect of your surroundings encourages the behaviors you want to cultivate, consistency becomes almost effortless. It is like swimming with the current instead of against it. Progress happens naturally, and your actions align seamlessly with your intentions. Think about the power of the people you surround yourself with. Humans are social beings, and the influence of those around us is profound. When you spend time with people who are committed, disciplined, and aligned with their values, their behaviors and attitudes subtly shape your own. You adopt their standards, mirror their work ethic,